If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. Chris Olave has already made waves within the New Orleans Saints organization, capturing the trust and admiration of a brand new coaching staff before the first snap of the season. That's not just a footnote, it's a major headline for a franchise in transition. When a player manages to earn the confidence of fresh leadership, it often signals that he's more than just a key piece. He's part of the foundation. And in the case of Olave, that foundation is solidifying quickly. The Saints front office recognizes that, even as outside teams try to pry him away. In today's NFL, where star wide receivers have become a hot commodity in both performance and trade value, holding on to a dynamic young talent like Olave isn't just wise, it's essential. That's why, even as other franchises circled like vultures, the Saints never flinched. The message from New Orleans has been loud and clear. Chris Olave isn't going anywhere. This point was hammered home recently by NFL insider Albert Breer, who reported that while interest in Olave has been significant, the Saints have remained steadfast in keeping their rising star. According to Breer, teams such as the Cleveland Browns and Pittsburgh Steelers reached out early in the offseason to gauge interest, likely hoping to catch New Orleans during a potential rebuild phase, or testing their willingness to deal a premium asset. But the Saints weren't having it. The timing and volume of these inquiries indicate how valuable Olave is seen around the league. Still, the Saints rebuffed every call, and that in itself says something powerful. New Orleans sees Olave as a central figure in their future, not as a trade chip. Even with tempting offers likely on the table, they drew a hard line, prioritizing team chemistry and continuity over short-term gain or draft capital. What makes this commitment even more remarkable is that Olave's 2024 season wasn't without its challenges. He dealt with multiple concussions that sidelined him and raised questions about long-term durability, a serious concern in today's NFL climate where player safety is under intense scrutiny. But rather than let those setbacks define his future, Olave doubled down, showing up in the offseason with renewed focus, intensity, and production. According to reports from Saints camp, he's been electric, sharpening his route running, expanding his role in the offense, and developing instant chemistry with the team's new quarterbacks. In many ways, this offseason has become Olave's statement piece. It's his answer to the doubters and an audition not just for New Orleans trust, but for stardom across the league. Players with this kind of bounce-back energy, they don't get traded. They get extended, celebrated, and built around. Looking ahead, Olave enters the final year of his rookie deal, a 4-year contract worth just over $19 million. That's a bargain when you consider the production and upside he brings to the table. The Saints also hold a 5th-year option worth $15.49 million in 2026, giving them an extra layer of security as they evaluate long-term extension possibilities. This contractual flexibility gives New Orleans every incentive to keep Olave in the fold and no urgency to entertain offers no matter how aggressive. From a front office standpoint, he's the kind of controllable asset you don't part with unless the return is absurdly high. And based on Breer's insights, no one's come close to offering that kind of haul. The Saints know exactly what they have, and they're playing it smart. Olave isn't just a roster piece. He's an investment in the franchise's future. Identity. Meanwhile, over in Cleveland, the Browns' interest in Olave makes perfect sense. They're a team in search of offensive identity, particularly at the receiver position. Earlier this offseason, they opted not to draft a wide receiver, instead placing their faith in a developing core led by Cedric Tillman. Tillman showed real flashes of talent last year before a concussion cut his rookie season short. He's a player the Browns believe in, but he still represents more potential than proof. So when the opportunity arose to inquire about Olave, a proven young weapon with elite separation skills and a deep threat profile, they had to explore it. The idea of pairing Olave with Amari Cooper and newly acquired Jerry Jeudy would have given Cleveland one of the most dynamic receiver groups in the AFC. But potential and pursuit don't always yield results, especially when the target is considered untouchable. And that's exactly the impression New Orleans gave. Olave is off the market, and no one's getting him unless they bring a once-in-a-decade offer. Cleveland, of course, had to pivot. Instead of landing Olave, they reinforced their receiver room with a mix of youth and veteran depth. Deontay Johnson brings reliability and experience, a known quantity who can get open in critical situations. Jamari Thrash adds rookie upside, a player whose ceiling could surprise if given the right opportunities. And DeAndre Carter contributes not only as a receiver, but as a valuable asset on special teams, an area often overlooked until it's too late. Still, there's no denying that missing out on Olave represents a what-if moment for the Browns. He's the kind of player who could have redefined their offense overnight, stretching the field and creating opportunities underneath for everyone else. The decision not to pursue another big-name receiver after being turned away by the Saints suggests Cleveland is embracing a different kind of blueprint for 2025. It's a gamble, no doubt, counting on youth, hoping for health, and trusting development. That's risky business in a division where defenses come fast and physical, and the margin for error is razor thin. The Browns believe they've assembled a group that can rise to the occasion, but if injuries strike or if young players fail to develop as expected, they could find themselves dangerously thin at a premium position. That's the danger of not making the bold move. Sometimes standing pat can look brave. Other times, it's just a missed opportunity. The hope in Cleveland is that it's the former, but if things unravel, the whispers about what might have been with Olave could grow louder. Back in New Orleans, the commitment to Olave sends a strong message, not just to other teams, but to fans and players alike. This is a franchise that understands its cornerstones and refuses to be bullied by market noise. In a league where player movement has become as common as game day injuries, there's something refreshing about a team drawing a line in the sand. The Saints are choosing continuity over chaos, investing in a young receiver who still hasn't hit his ceiling. That kind of faith builds locker room culture. It inspires teammates, and more importantly, it signals a vision, one where the franchise doesn't need to rebuild from scratch, but can instead retool around dynamic young pieces like Olave. That's how winning cultures are formed, not by flipping assets for picks, but by identifying talent early and holding on tight. It's also worth noting the quiet maturity with which Olave has handled all of this. Despite the trade chatter, despite the speculation, he hasn't fed into the drama. No cryptic social media posts, no veiled frustrations, no behind-the-scenes leaks. Just work, just focus. That's rare in today's NFL, especially for a young star who knows full well how highly he's valued across the league. But Olave's done everything right, on and off the field, which only deepens his value to the Saints. He's not just a playmaker, he's a professional. That combination doesn't come around often, and when it does, you don't let it walk. You build around it, you elevate it, and that's exactly what New Orleans appears ready to do as they march into the 2025 season. Looking forward, all eyes will be on how Olave responds this season. Can he stay healthy? Can he evolve into one of the league's elite receivers? The tools are there. The speed, the footwork, the intelligence. He's got the route-running precision of a veteran and the explosiveness of a game breaker. If the Saints' offense clicks, Olave could be in for a monster year, the kind that cements Pro Bowl nods and starts contract extension discussions in earnest. And for Cleveland fans, as they watch their own receivers take shape, there will be an unavoidable temptation to compare, to wonder what Olave could have brought to their offense. But as it stands, he's a Saint. A trusted, valued, and now protected member of a team hoping to climb back into relevance with a revamped identity and a star receiver leading the way. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because the NFL world is absolutely buzzing right now. Rumors have been swirling like a tornado, and the latest one is shaking the very foundations of the league. Yes, you heard it right. Whispers from sources close to the situation suggest that Tom Brady might be stepping out of retirement again. But here's the twist that no one saw coming. He's allegedly targeting the Cleveland Browns as his next destination. That's right. The same Browns that have been yearning for a franchise-altering quarterback for decades might finally get their man, not just any man, but the G.O.at himself. Imagine that, folks. Tom Brady, the most decorated quarterback, in NFL history, suiting up in brown and orange, ready to conquer yet another Super Bowl. It sounds crazy, but as we've learned with Brady, you should never say never. Now let's break this down because honestly, this is one of the wildest rumors we've seen in years. According to insiders, and I must stress this is still in the realm of speculation, Tom Brady has been quietly training and keeping in shape since his last game. Some say he's been throwing with NFL caliber receivers down in Florida, keeping that golden arm sharp just in case. The man is a known competitor, and despite officially announcing his retirement, for the second time, mind you, there have always been those who believed he couldn't stay away for long. But why the Browns? Why now? That's where things get really interesting. The buzz is that Brady sees Cleveland as a team on the verge with a strong defense, an elite run game, and a coaching staff that's desperate for that missing championship piece. And let's be honest, when you look at the Browns roster, it's not hard to see why this rumor could have legs. They got Myles Garrett terrorizing quarterbacks on defense, Nick Chubb bulldozing through defensive lines, and a receiving corps that, while young, has plenty of potential. What they've lacked consistently is that proven veteran presence at quarterback, someone who can take them deep into the playoffs and beyond. Brady, with his unmatched playoff experience and leadership, would instantly transform the Browns from perennial underachievers into legitimate Super Bowl contenders. It's the kind of Hollywood storyline that almost writes itself. And you just know that Tom loves a good narrative. Could Cleveland finally be his next great chapter? Of course. We have to address the elephant in the room. Brady is 47 years old. That's practically ancient in NFL terms. But then again, this is Tom Brady we're talking about. The same guy who won a Super Bowl at 43 and led the league in passing yards well into his 40s. He's never played by the usual rules of aging, and there are reports suggesting that he still feels like he has one more run left in him. Some sources even claim that Brady has privately told friends he misses the game and feels like he left unfinished business on the table. If that's true, and if he believes the Browns give him the best shot at an 8th Super Bowl ring, then who are we to doubt him? Adding fuel to the fire, there have been some cryptic social media posts from Brady recently. Nothing overt, but little things. Pictures of him working out, comments about loving competition, and even a photo of Cleveland's iconic lakefront with the caption, "Beautiful day." Now, was that just a coincidence? Maybe. But in the modern age of social media, athletes love to drop hints and stir speculation. Brady is no stranger to playing the media game, and he knows exactly how to get people talking. Their subtle posts have only added to the fever pitch surrounding this potential comeback. Fans and analysts alike are dissecting every word, every image, trying to piece together whether this rumor could actually be true. On the Browns side, this would be an absolute game changer. The franchise has been through decades of instability. At the quarterback position, with a revolving door of starters and constant front office changes, landing Tom Brady, even for just one season, would send shockwaves throughout the league and signal that Cleveland is done messing around. Some insiders are even suggesting that preliminary conversations may have already taken place between Brady's camp and the Browns front office. Of course, no one is confirming anything officially. It's all very hush-hush, but where there's smoke, there's often fire. And right now, Cleveland is looking pretty smoky. Let's not forget the impact this would have on the AFC North. The division is already stacked with talent. Lamar Jackson with the Ravens, Joe Burrow with the Bengals, and the ever-dangerous Steelers. Adding Tom Brady to that mix would elevate the Browns to instant favorites, or at least serious contenders. Think about the matchups. Brady versus Burrow, Brady versus Lamar, Brady against that fierce Steelers defense. The ratings would be through the roof, and the NFL schedule makers would be salivating at the potential primetime games. From a business standpoint, this move would make perfect sense for everyone involved. The Browns would finally get the national respect they crave, and Brady would get yet another shot at playoff glory. But of course, not everyone is convinced. Some skeptics argue that this is just typical off-season noise, a fantasy cooked up by fans and pundits who can't accept that Brady's career is truly over. They point out that he already has lucrative media deals lined up, including his highly anticipated broadcasting gig. Why risk tarnishing his legacy with a comeback that could potentially flop? After all, Father Time is undefeated for most athletes at least. But again, this is Tom Brady we're talking about. a man who has made a career out of proving people wrong. If anyone could pull off one final miracle run, it's him. And there's also the sentimental angle. Some reports suggest that Brady is intrigued by the idea of bringing a championship to a city that has suffered so much sports heartbreak over the years. Cleveland fans are among the most passionate in the league, and the city's tortured history is well documented. Imagine the narrative arc. Tom Brady rides in as a hero, leads the Browns to their first Super Bowl victory, and cements his legacy as not just the greatest quarterback of all time, but the ultimate savior of an entire franchise. It's the stuff of legend, the kind of story that will be retold for generations. Maybe, just maybe, that idea is as enticing to Brady as the prospect of hoisting yet another Lombardi trophy. So, where does this leave us? Right now, it's all speculation, all rumor, but it's the kind of rumor that has a lot of people talking. And for good reason. The possibility of Tom Brady coming out of retirement to play for the Cleveland Browns is equal parts shocking and fascinating. It raises questions about legacy, competitiveness, and the ever-complicated decision of knowing when to finally walk away. Whether or not this actually happens, one thing's for sure. The NFL offseason just got a whole lot more interesting. And if we've learned anything from Brady's career, it's that you can never count him out. Stay tuned, folks. This story is far from over. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan. Hit subscribe and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!